I finally got rid of hair algae. Alright, not really, but I have made a big progress on this hair algae and algae issue that I've been having. Since the last time I did a water change, I haven't really touched this tank, guys. And normally within a couple of days already, we'll have algae on the glass. We'll have the plants covered with hair algae, suffocating the plants. And so far, I haven't seen that. The hair algae that's there is the algae that I had an issue to get rid of, by hand. So I just left it as is. But one thing that I did do with this tank was adjusting the light settings. Not really on the time frame, but on the intensity of the light. I don't remember exactly at what percentage do I have the cool whites and the warm whites, but I could tell you that it's no more than 40% on each, and probably the blues, the greens, and the reds, no more than 10%. These are AI prime lights. So that's a big improvement, and I'm actually happy. Probably, most likely, the dimensions of this tank, the height of the lights, caused a big algae bloom because of the intensity of the lights. At first, I had a higher setting on the lights because I wanted this to be a high tank. But when the algae has like a head start than the plants, and the plants haven't rooted themselves or established themselves in the tank, of course the algae is going to overgrow the plants, as algae is more of a fast grower than plants are. But I am really happy, honestly. I've been wanting to make a video on this tank, but I was like, you know what, let me give it a couple more days and see if I see any algae on the glass. But man, look at the glass, how clean it is. And yes, I only cleaned the outside of the glass with just like a wet rag and then a dry rag afterwards. But being inside using a blade or something, a scraper, I haven't done that. So look how big progress just adjusting the light settings, what it makes the tank. One thing that I am thinking of doing is, or I should do a little bit more research regarding the driftwood, the spiderwood, and the dragonstone. I forgot where I came across someone speaking on it, that certain type of woods would leach over time and cause hair issues, hair algae issues or algae issues. So I did do a little bit more research on the dragonstone and on the spiderwood, to see if it leaches or what type of issues it causes. Because I always question myself, because before I used to have a Dirty Planet aquarium, and I never had no issues with algae at all. And my wife would always tell me, why don't you just go back to a Dirty Planet tank? Your plants grew like crazy, you never had no algae issues. Because she's seen how much I have struggled, how much I've been upset of attempting of doing a high tank planet tank, something I always wanted to do. For those that are new, I've tried everything, fluostratum, with CO2, a dry start method to have a carpet, and you know what, that worked for like a week or two, and afterwards just the hair algae took over, suffocated everything. I had cyanobacteria issues, and till this day, it's something I've been struggling, but I do want to have a successful planet aquarium. And having these issues, never gave up. I thought about it, shutting down the freshwater tank and just focusing on my saltwater tanks, but I started as a freshwater hobbyist, and to be honest, guys, my favorite fish belong to the freshwater side of the fish keeping hobby. Green is my favorite color, so again, planet aquariums are amazing to me, something that attracts me, something that I see stand out if I have both tanks together. A planet aquarium is always going to stand out for to me wherever I go. Wherever I see one next to a saltwater tank, I'm always going to prefer the freshwater tank. It's something always amused me. I never gave up on this tank, but there's been times where I'll be like, why don't I start an African cichlid tank? fish that I always wanted to keep. Don't really have experience with them, so it'll be something nice keeping a African cichlid tank. And then I thought to myself, I could also go with South American cichlid tanks. Oscars are one of my favorite fish in general, so why not keep an Oscar tank? With other big South American cichlids. But I don't know. There's something that I always wanted to have next to each other, like the best of saltwater with the best of freshwater. When people come, they look at the tanks and be amazed how beautiful this hobby is. But yeah, so far, I made the tank itself has take a big leap. I know there's something better that's gonna happen, for this aquarium. Regarding the plants, I don't know. I feel like throwing all the plants away, or try to clean as many plants I can, and then the ones that I can get rid of that hair algae, just the ones I can remove the hair algae from, just throw them away, and try to remove as much hair algae as I can. Also, on my part, I haven't really done any research or looked into what type of chemicals I could use to control that algae. I could also go the next route, that will be having a blackout on the tank for approximately 3 days, and see if the hair algae retracts itself or it weakens itself. That way it'll be easier to remove from the plants. All the fish are doing good. At one point, these little snails, I don't know if you call them pond snails or what type of snails, I always saw them as pest snails. I used to hate them. When I used to get them in my planted tanks, because sometimes they'll come with the plants, they'll make me want to start everything over. I was like, oh man, it's infested. Then I found out about assassin snails. They controlled the population, and I think actually wiped it out a couple occasions. But now, this time, they don't even bother me. I actually like having those snails, as long as they don't cover the sand bed, they don't cover the glass. So far, they're being good residents of the tank. My discus, beautiful, one of my favorite fish, top 3 for sure. The albino swordtail, doing good. One thing on the German blue ram, I don't know if it's a female or a male, probably a female, but it doesn't have that much color. I would prefer for it to have more color, but I don't know. I might trade that one in and see if I could get like a different type of ram, because kind of looks like a Bolivian ram. Tetras are doing good. Cardinals, they're doing good. My autosynclists, they're doing good. So are the peppermint Cory cats. I know there's another resident of this tank. The scarlet. I forgot the name. I don't know. I don't want to say the incorrect name. I was gonna say badass scarlet, but I forgot. Scarlet Batty. I forgot. But that fish is doing good too. What other fish do I have in this tank? Because sometimes they hide. I think that's pretty much it on the fish that I have. But I'm happy right now. This tank is doing so good. But again, there's gonna be changes to this tank. There is gonna be an upgrade regarding this tank. One reason is because of the discus. It's just growing, and it's really unfair for me to say that I know about fish and keep a fish that this is an undersized tank for it. So I need to upgrade either to a 50 gallon aquarium, which I already have one, or even go bigger. We'll see. If not, I will have to rehome the discus if I'm gonna have this 30 gallon long and just keep nano fish in it. I haven't really bought any fish for this tank, guys, because again, I was having hair algae issues and algae on the glass, and I was like, what, if I can get rid of this, I'm gonna just shut this tank down. But that's the only reason I haven't done it, because again, I don't know if I was gonna transition to South American cichlids, African cichlids. But you know what, I'm gonna just give this another try. So far everything's looking good after I adjusted the lights, so I'll give it another month, and if everything goes well, then you know what, it's gonna be time for me to get new plants, get new fish, and we'll see. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this clip or this little update on the freshwater tank. And now I'm gonna talk about the saltwater aquariums that I have. So stick around. Alright, now let's talk about the saltwater tank. I actually did a water change on this tank yesterday. I cleaned the glass, so why not add it to this video? Again, nothing has really changed on this tank. It's just been on cruise control. But look at the mushrooms, how much they have grown. This video makes no justice on this Algae mushroom. And then on the OG bounce, on the sun kiss, on the baby jawbreaker, like that thing's already as big as a quarter. I know it's the camera's not gonna pick it up as it is, but it really is as a quarter. So yeah, this mushroom here is big. Like this, the same. Hammers are doing good. So that little episode we had of the Euphilia dying has stopped. Again, it could have been a salinity issue or a pest, I don't know what, but the death has stopped. And the dragon soul, it's a living proof of it, of that storm that we went through. Not Duncan, Blasto's doing good. This Akin here, again, this video doesn't make it justice. It's so colorful and nice. Fish are all doing really well. Remember, guys, that I said that I wasn't gonna add corals until I went to coral shows, and just today there was another show, Corals Farmer Market in Silicon Valley in Northern California, but I decided not to go this time. I had visit, my brother came, and also because of the little episode we had regarding the Euphilia dying, I didn't want to, buy corals and for them to die. So I want to make sure this tank's established, or goes through that little stage we had before I add more corals. And yeah, not only that, but there's something else I'm thinking of doing regarding this tank, which I don't want to mention just yet, but that there's two reasons. One, that I already said, make sure that ugly stage of the Euphilia dying is over. And then two, there's, something might change with this tank. But yeah, this tank is doing good. Now let's check on the other one. For the Innovative Marine drop-off tank, again, nothing has really changed. I did clean the glass like I mentioned. I did remove some of the hair algae. This tank tends to have a lot of hair algae, but it's easy to remove. Look how big this mushroom is. This thing's massive. Look, they're the same kind, but you see that one and that one back there, that one has like it's like more vibrant, different texture to it than this one here. So these are wild caught. I want them as so-called wild caught Deadpools, but yeah, these are just regular Discosoma. Super Freak's doing good. This trumpet coral fell when I was doing water change, never picked it up. And then that hammer, I don't know what the heck happened to it, but hopefully it could recover. So I'm gonna just leave it here and see what happens with it. Spicy lemon phobia, more corals. I have a bunch of bubble algae. I need to do some research and see how the heck I could get rid of it, because yeah, I know this tank's neglected and stuff, but still I gotta do something about the bubble algae and the hair algae. Every time I look at this tank, I'm like, yeah, it's a nice tank, but I don't know if I want to keep it or not. Look at that little auto top off sensor. I just have it there, and yeah, it's basically gonna fall off. Good thing it's disconnected, but yeah, I gotta fix that. That tells you a lot, that this tank's neglected. At one point I envisioned this tank to be an enemy dominant tank, but again, I don't know if I'm gonna do that. But yeah, nice little tank. Anyhow, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.